Oh my God! Y'all better grab your seats and hold on to something tight, because what I'm about to tell you about the Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 9 reunion is going to absolutely rock your world. Everything, and I mean every single thing we thought we knew about that explosive night has turned out to be one massive lie. Marsau Scott, our favorite level-headed reality star, just blew the lid off this whole situation with some earth-shattering revelations about what really went down with Carlos King, and trust me when I tell you, it's nothing like what Owen wants us to believe. I'm literally trembling as I share this tea with you because the backstage drama was so intense, the confrontation so explosive, and the power moves so shocking that it could completely transform everything we thought we knew about the show. This is the real, unfiltered story they've been desperately trying to keep hidden from us. And honey, you're going to need a moment to process all of this. For weeks now, the fans have been absolutely buzzing about this reunion episode, dissecting every moment, analyzing every side-eye, and speculating about what might have happened behind those cameras. But let me tell you something. What actually went down behind those scenes? It's so much more scandalous than anything that made it to our television screens. And who's finally breaking their silence to expose it all? None other than Marsau Scott himself. You know, the one who always maintains his composure even in the messiest situations. Well, he's finally had enough, and his revelations are about to turn this whole show upside down and inside out. Now, here's where things start getting really juicy. According to Marsau, what we witnessed wasn't just your typical reality TV drama with a few producer touches here and there. Oh no, darling. This was a completely controlled, manipulated, and orchestrated performance, with Carlos King himself pulling all the strings from behind the curtain. I know what you're thinking. Why would Carlos go to such lengths? What could he possibly gain by steering the storyline in such a specific direction? And more importantly, what secrets is he so desperately trying to keep buried? Let me spill this scalding hot tea real slow so you don't miss a single drop. Marsau, who's always been known for choosing his words carefully and playing his cards close to his chest, is suddenly not holding anything back anymore. During a recent conversation that has set the internet on fire, he confirmed what many of us have been suspecting all along. The reunion wasn't just dramatic, it was completely orchestrated down to the smallest detail. He claims Carlos King wasn't just producing the show. He was actively dictating which conversations made it to air, and, this part is going to shock you, allegedly coaching certain cast members on exactly what to say and how to say it. But wait, because it gets even more outrageous. Marsau revealed that crucial game-changing moments were deliberately edited out to protect certain cast members, while others were completely blindsided by what actually made it to air. The tension behind those scenes? Absolutely through the roof. Some cast members were so furious with the manipulation that they were threatening to walk off the set entirely. Can you even imagine the chaos? And here comes the bombshell that had my jaw on the floor. Marsau suggested that Carlos has been playing favorites all along, with a personal agenda determining who wins and who loses in the eyes of the audience. We're talking about serious behind-the-scenes manipulation here. But the question on everyone's mind is, why would a producer get so personally involved? What does Carlos stand to gain from pushing certain storylines while burying others? And why are people suddenly questioning whether he's finally crossed a line that he can't come back from? Marsau's revelations weren't just your typical reality TV tea-spilling moment. They were a serious warning to everyone involved. A warning that what we're seeing on our screens is barely scratching the surface of the truth. And if his claims are correct, which honestly all the evidence suggests they are, Carlos King may have finally pushed one of the strongest players in the game to his absolute limit. The drama that unfolded during that reunion taping, it was beyond anything we've ever seen before. Multiple cast members became increasingly frustrated as they realized their voices were being silenced and their stories were being twisted. Some tried to push back against the manipulation, but according to Marsau, Carlos made it crystal clear that he was the one calling all the shots. And this next part? It sent chills down my spine. Marsau hinted at something even more disturbing. He suggested that Carlos's involvement isn't just about creating drama for ratings anymore. It's deeply personal. Certain cast members have apparently been protected for very specific reasons, while others have been thrown under the bus without a second thought or any mercy whatsoever. The whispers from sources close to the show have been getting louder and louder, talking about secret off-camera alliances, certain cast members who've managed to position themselves perfectly with Carlos, ensuring their reputations stay pristine while others take the fall for every bit of drama. According to Marcel, this pattern of favoritism has been going on for years, but season 9, that was the moment everything finally reached its boiling point. The tension during filming got so intense that security personnel actually had to step in multiple times to keep things under control. This wasn't just another dramatic reunion. This was a full-on power struggle happening right before our eyes, with years of built-up frustration finally exploding. Let me tell you about what happened when Melody Holt, who's usually so poised and collected, tried to speak her truth. Instead of letting her tell her side of the story freely, her words were apparently twisted and manipulated to fit whatever narrative Carlos wanted to push. But Melody, oh honey, she wasn't about to sit back and take it anymore. For the first time ever, we saw her pushing back hard against the machine that had controlled the show's direction for so long. The frustration in that room was so thick you could practically taste it. Even Kimmy Scott, who's always been known for keeping her cool and staying above the drama, couldn't hold back anymore. She became visibly upset as she watched the blatant manipulation happening right in front of her. Sources say she stood up right there on set and called out the hypocrisy, demanding to know why certain issues were being swept under the rug while others were being exploited for maximum drama and ratings. Then came the moment that had absolutely everyone in that room frozen in shock. Marcel dropped hints about secret conversations that had happened behind closed doors. Conversations where certain cast members were allegedly promised protection from specific topics. But the second those cameras started rolling, those promises vanished into thin air like they never existed. Instead of maintaining any kind of balance or fairness, it seemed like Carlos was deliberately trying to pit cast members against each other, stirring up existing tensions while making sure his favorites remained safely above the fray. The frustration finally reached such a fever pitch that some cast members actually refused to continue filming unless immediate changes were made right then and there. And then, honey, let me tell you about the moment that changed everything. Melody Holt, who's been through more drama and public scrutiny than anyone should ever have to endure, finally reached her absolute breaking point. Right there in front of everyone, she turned to Carlos and reportedly said something that left the entire room in shocked silence. If we're telling the truth, let's tell all of it. The way she emphasized all had everyone's heart stopping. The tension between Melody and Carlos had been building for years, but now it was about to explode right there on camera. She wasn't just calling out his selective storytelling anymore. She was exposing the entire system of favoritism and manipulation that had been controlling the show for seasons. But the biggest, most jaw-dropping moment of all? That came from Marcel. In a moment that had everyone's hearts pounding, he turned to Carlos and said something that changed the game entirely. Why don't you tell them what you told us off camera? Tell them why you're really protecting certain people. The room went completely silent. The look on Carlos's face? It told us everything we needed to know without him saying a single word. What happened next was absolutely unprecedented in love and marriage Huntsville history. The cast members who had been playing by Carlos's rules for so long collectively started pushing back against his control. The truth was finally starting to come out, and for once, Carlos couldn't spin this situation to his advantage. Now here's the real piping hot tea that's been kept under wraps until now. Sources are saying that certain cast members have been getting special treatment from the very beginning. Some stars apparently had the power to veto entire scenes, shut down any conversations they didn't want aired, and even influence the editing process. Meanwhile, others like Melody had absolutely no protection whatsoever, forced to watch their most painful moments played out for ratings. But Melody? She wasn't finished yet. Looking Carlos straight in the eyes, she reportedly said something that had everyone in that room shook to their core. This show was supposed to be about successful Black entrepreneurs uplifting each other, but you turned it into a circus, and now you don't even have control over the chaos you created. The power behind those words? Absolutely electric. The crowd erupted in response. The cast members who had been silently suffering under Carlos's control suddenly realized they weren't alone anymore. They had power, and for the first time in love and marriage Huntsville history, that power wasn't in Carlos King's hands. And now, everyone's wondering what happens next. Will Owen finally step in and shake things up? Will Will Carlos be forced to step down from his position, or will he fight even harder to maintain his iron grip on the show? One thing's absolutely certain. This is just the beginning of what's sure to be the biggest scandal in love and marriage Huntsville history. The walls are finally coming down, the truth is spilling out everywhere, and it's even more explosive than anyone could have possibly imagined. Keep your eyes glued to this situation, because something tells me there's still plenty more tea left to be spilled. The power dynamics are shifting, alliances are crumbling, and the real story behind love and marriage Huntsville is finally coming to light. And honey, it's even more dramatic than we ever could have imagined.